So first, I'd like to introduce our team, our National AJET team. So first, we have Kelly Patton, otherwise known as Kay, our chair, who's on the call today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you so much, Curtis. Hello, everyone. My name is Kay. As mentioned, I am the chair of National AJET. I am on my second year of the JET program. I am based in Gunma Prefecture. And if you do not know where that is, to put it simply, if you know where Tokyo is on a map, I am one prefecture, two prefectures up from Tokyo. I'm about 2.5 hours by train, sorry. And yes, thank you for coming today. I'm excited to tell you more about the JET program.
So we also have our Vice Chair, Carissa, who joined us in the morning. Also, Spencer Stevens, who is our Treasurer. Moving on to today's team. So I myself am the moderator today. So I organised today, and this is our second year for running our incoming JETS introduction seminar. So we ran it first time last year and then now this year. So I'm from Australia, and I'm the former Director of Educational Professional Development for National AJET. I'm leaving in July, so unfortunately I can't continue with that role because you have to be a current JET participant to be a part of the fantastic National AJET team. We also have Bobby in the call today, who is our current Director of Research.
Hello, good to meet you all. This is going to be I'm on my second year in JET. Last year I did help Curtis a little bit with the professional educational development. This year I'm switching roles, going more to the research side. Right now I'm placed in Aomori. If you guys know that, it's probably the snowiest region in Japan, which unfortunately I still have not gotten used to. But looking forward to hearing your questions and having fun today.
We also have Blair in the call today as well.
My name is Blair. I am the National AJET Secretary. I am based in Niigata, so that is right on the coast, right where the Sea of Japan is. And I will be going into my third year as an ALT, and I'm from state of Connecticut in America.
And last we have Nikki.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nikki Hartford. I'm originally from the Space Coast of Florida, USA, and I'm in Fukui Prefecture, which is on the west coast of Japan, kind of like in the crook of Honshu, that little curve. And we're famous for dinosaurs, so if you like those, come on over. I'm actually a fifth year, I did 5 years on JET, and then I'm about to start my third year as a direct hire from my Board of Education. So yeah, kind of like a little bit of a special case. And I was the former Block 5 representative on AJET. I'm also the national coordinator for PSG, which you'll learn about in a little bit. And I've been on that for 4 years now. Looking forward to all of you coming over to Japan. Congratulations.
Let's first introduce about what is the JET program, this program you're coming on. We had a few questions asking about how long is this program? Am I in the same place for the whole time? So let's just clarify what the program is first. So the JET program is a maximum 5-year program aimed at supporting foreign language instruction and international exchange activities. Through these efforts, the JET program promotes grassroots internationalization and fosters mutual understanding between Japan and other countries. So that information can be found on the JET program website. So I highly recommend that you check out the website. I'm sure you probably have already checked it out. But if there's any uncertainties about your role as either if you're an ALT, which is an assistant language teacher, or a CIR, which is a coordinator in international relations, the role descriptions are listed on the website as well. There's also testimonials and lots of fantastic information. And one I really have to recommend is the General Information Handbook as well, which you can also find on the website as well. It's like the Bible for the JET program. So every year in about December or January, you will have a recontracting period where your contracting organization will decide if you'll be recontracted for another year. So even though it's a maximum 5-year program, your contract is renewed on a yearly basis. And that's based on a range of criteria. That's based on the determination of your contracting organization. So for me in Iwaki, for example, we have to do an exam, and we have a formal observation as well as feedback and comments from our schools. Most of the time, the decision will be made based off feedback that your contracting organization, which would either be the Board of Education, or if you're prefectural, probably a high school AOT, it will be decided by probably your school that you're placed at, because most high school AOTs are placed at one school generally. And then CIRs, of course, it's dependent on your place of work. So to introduce National AJET, so this is what we are and what we do, I'd like to introduce again Kay to talk a little bit.
National AJET, what do we do? National AJET enhances the lives of JET program participants by representing their views and concerns to CLAIR and the government ministries that oversee the JET program. Overall, there are 4 government ministries. We have CLAIR, we have NEXT, we have MIC, and we have MOFA. These are many ministries that you'll become more familiar with as you come. It's okay to not know what these acronyms stand for right now. There is not a test at the end of this. It's okay. We provide support for local social and professional development initiatives through regional chapters, assist in providing mental health resources to JETs, and publish a periodical online magazine, connect and manage a nationwide couch surfing-like network. I would say the best way to envision what we are is very much like student council, is how I would summarize it. Then going on to the support system, this infograph, I would say, sometimes can be a little bit confusing. But the best way to kind of look at it is a avenue of how can I best access support when I'm in Japan. We have separated it into 3. We have health, we have occupational, and we have social professional development. Skimming through, I would like to preface by saying that these can be a little bit confusing right now. There's going to be lots of acronyms that probably won't make too much sense. I'll try my best to explain whilst giving an overview at the same time. So the first thing we'll look at is the health section of support. There are many ways that you can receive support for health. One thing to notice, when you come to Japan and you work as a JET participant, you are seen as a public servant. And because you are a public servant, it means that it is mandatory for you to undergo an annual health check. So you will always, every year, be kind of supported by your workplace to go through, get things like blood taken, your height, your eyes checked, everything. So that is one avenue of support you'll receive in terms of health. There are also things like the My Number card, which every single resident of Japan gets given. It is a lovely piece of paper that has all of your information on it, and it's very, very helpful when we are looking to seek medical assistance, but also anything in terms of setting up, like living and going to your local government office. This card is going to be very, very helpful, especially for those who struggle with Japanese ability. And then touching further on for mental health, other support avenues we have JET online counseling services. There's also a subsidy provided by CLAIR. We have AJET peer support group, which is an in-house group offered that we'll speak on a little bit later. And we also have the Tokyo English Lifeline. Usually that is an acronym called TEL. When you come to Japan, you'll have your Tokyo orientation, and usually TEL speak at the orientation. So you'll get more information about what they provide. It is important to note, you do not need to live in Tokyo to access this support system. So for social and professional development, there are a few avenues you can go down, one of which is National AJET, who we are. We provide a fantastic professional development networks, as seen through Curtis, and Bobby, I believe, who organize these wonderful Meet the AJET sessions, and also throughout the year, various online seminars as well. So this is a very great space to access things like professional development. However, what about social? Well, for National AJET, remember I said it's kind of like student council. Well, if you take National AJET and you break it down into your prefecture, into your regions, there are smaller branches or smaller chapters, sorry, also available. For example, I live in Gunma Prefecture. Our chapter is called GAJET, so Gunma AJET. And typically, almost every prefecture will have one of these chapters, and they tend to focus quite heavily on fulfilling that social aspect and social requirement in terms of your support system. Furthermore, we also have to the right AJET special interest groups. Special interest groups, what does that mean? Special interest groups are spaces created by JET participants for JET participants, where you're able to connect on basis of shared interest, shared religion, shared experience, shared identity. We have an example of some of them, but not all of them on screen right now. Some new ones that we're currently creating, JETs over 30. Another one I think is quite good to highlight is non-native English speaking JETs. There are many programs, many special interest groups. And if you do not see one that you feel would be valuable to you, you're always welcome to reach out and we can work together to create a space that you would like to see that would be valuable for you. Occupational one, which is the biggest one and the hardest one to explain. Coming on the JET program, there are 3 different types of role you could have. One is ALT, Assistant Language Teacher. I will say that all of the National AJET members that are here today are ALTs. That means that we are going to struggle to explain what the other two roles have in depth, but we can give an overview. The other 2 roles are CIR, which stands for Coordinator for International Relations. Typically, they are based in like local government offices. They can be looking at things like specifically foreign affairs, or maybe they could be looking at like local revitalization projects, for example. Just to note, these ones are typically all in Japanese and sometimes Japanese and English, Japanese and French, Japanese and Vietnamese, is not limited to the English of the Anglosphere. Then finally, we have SEA, which stands for Sport Exchange Advisors. These are people who are usually, once again, back in schools, and they are like sport-based workers. So, because there are different roles that we can fulfill in JET, that means that our systems of how we access support is also going to be different. Looking first at ALT, on this infographic, when we're looking at support and who to go to when we are struggling, having issues, or looking to make reports of problems that we're having, first, the assistant language teacher can turn to their supervisor, then their school, then their BOE, then CLAIR. Now, there are 2 acronyms there that might be confusing. First acronym is BOE. That stands for Board of Education. Another phrase you might have heard, maybe it will come through in your emails, is CO, Contracting Organization. Your contracting organization and your Board of Education are the same thing. They mean it's interchangeable when we speak in JET program terminology. Your supervisor almost always will be able to speak English. They're the ones that you can immediately go to with any initial issues you might be having. And also your supervisor is usually there if you are just come to the country and you need to set up your bank, you need to set up your housing with the local government office. Usually it's your supervisor that will take you through this process together. Next support system you have is your school, where you're based, where you are working. You are able to contact your Japanese teachers of English, also known as JTE, I think
Yes,
is
JTEs.
how the Americans say it, JTE. I say JTE, I'm Scottish. Your Japanese teacher of English usually is someone who is there to support you. Furthermore, you also have your vice principal, your principal. There are many people within the school network that you're able to speak to. Then moving on to the bigger overall overseeing organization, your contracting organization is your Board of Education. Now, your Board of Education usually will oversee multiple schools in your city, in your region, in your area. And then finally, your Board of Education, your next tier of support above that is CLAIR, Council of Local Authorities for International Relations. You'll be getting lots of emails from them right now. And also when you come to Japan, you will receive monthly emails from them. Furthermore, when you come to Japan the first time for your orientation, CLAIR are the people who are organizing all of this. Now, there's one more thing to note for the ALT section. It's important to know that if you are a high school ALT, your supervisor is usually located within your school. Whereas if you are a junior high school or an elementary school ALT, your supervisor typically resides within your Board of Education, at least to my experience, I would say. So we have in the middle section here, this middle section kind of would relate to both ALT and CIR.
Yes.
We have PA, which stands for Prefectural Advisor, and we have RPA, which I believe we've agreed stands for Regional Prefectural Advisor. Blair can give a much better insight to what these two aspects mean. So Blair, can I tag team you in and give an overview of the PA and RPA, please?
Yes, of course. So yes, we're going off the assumption RPA is Regional Prefectural Advisor. Most commonly we would refer to as RA, Regional Advisor. I am actually the Regional Advisor for my area. So Prefectural Advisors, pretty much there is usually an ALT Prefectural Advisor and a CIR Prefectural Advisor. And those two, they cover the whole prefecture. So, for example, I am in Niigata Prefecture, so we have a Niigata ALT-PA and a Niigata CIR-PA. And so they are responsible. They typically are the ones that coordinate directly with the prefectural Board of Ed and with CLAIR. So they are very busy. They have a lot. They usually coordinate also skills development conferences. These are usually run once a year, and that is for all ALTs. I think sometimes CIRs come. I think it might just be ALTs. It really depends on the area, and that is where they will all come together once a year. The timing depends on your prefecture. I know my prefecture does it in January, and that is to bring all the ALTs together and to kind of have different seminars and just to talk about like things on teaching. We've also done just classes on, we had a class on like Japanese sign language. So there's just a variety of kind of ways to kind of improve your time within the JET program in Japan. And so that is what a PA typically does. So just think prefectural. And then a regional advisor, there is usually one per each region. So my city is called Joetsu. And so I am the advisor for that specific region. So I am coordinating also with the prefectural advisor. And so think like PA, prefectural, RA is for your town or your region. So you most likely will have the most contact with your RA. They may have already reached out to you individually. So they're the ones typically who, when you get to Japan, will probably, in my region, we come to meet you at the train station. It really depends on the region, but they're the ones you will come into contact with most, and they can help with a variety of things. And if there's something they can't help you with, they then can refer you to the PA, and then the prefecture advisor can then go from there if it needs to be brought to CLAIR. So pretty much in the sandwich of region prefectural things, think RA, PA, and then CLAIR. So that's kind of how the system works.
Thank you, Blair. And crawling back over to the infographic, the final section we have under occupation is for CIR. So similarly with ALT and CIR, the highest level of support you can reach to is CLAIR, the Council of Local Authorities for International Relations. However, before you reach that point, people that you would speak to and look for support from, we have supervisor, your section or department head, and then finally your contracting organization. Unfortunately, as I mentioned prior, none of us here are CIRs, so we can't explain in too much more detail beyond what the graph offers. However, we will mention later where you could find more information about, stay tuned. And finally, on the infographic on the bottom right section, we can see JET Alumni Association. So you'll notice that there is no line coming right now from the JET over to the Alumni Association. Typically, that's because it will mean the alumni is, once you leave the JET program, there's still going to be a support system in place for you to reach out. There's, I believe, almost every single participating country has an alumni association or like an umbrella alumni association. It's worth looking into. However, even whilst you're in Japan and an active JET participant, you are still able to reach out to your alumni association back home, collaborate, connect. And I would also say that there is value in asking questions to those who've already been in your shoes. It's good sometimes to get advice from people who know in retrospect, opposed to sometimes people who are like also struggling the same thing as you. So I wouldn't discredit the support that the alumni associations can provide. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Kay. So moving on, I want to take a step back to look at the mental health services that are offered to JETs. So as mentioned by Kay, that CLAIR offers two services, so their own counselling service online, as well as a subsidy to access counselling. But we also have our own AJET peer support group, and I'd like to introduce again Nikki to quickly discuss about what AJET peer support is.
The AJET Peer Support Group Helpline, or PSG, as it's most commonly called, we are a grassroots volunteer organization who connected with AJET back in the day. And so now we get to work together with AJET, which is lovely. And we are an anonymous, confidential listening and referral service that is free to all JETs, and it is run by JETs. So all of the volunteers on our team, we are all JETs or former JETs still residing within Japan. And so we understand the unique situation and experiences that JETs have while living in Japan, so we can help connect with you. We are available every single night of the year from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m., which is when a lot of other helplines like the lovely TEL, Tokyo English Lifeline, and a few others will go offline at about 11 p.m. And so we're open a little bit later if you need somebody to talk to. You can reach us on Microsoft Teams and search ajetpsg@gmail.com, and you can connect with us there. So if you're having like any mental health issues that you want to talk about, if you're feeling some anxiety, culture shock, kind of social troubles, work-related challenges, anything like that, you can give us a call and we'll listen and help support you. And if you need some referrals, like for maybe therapy or counseling or medical referrals, like finding doctors or translation services, as well as many other resources for each prefecture or within the embassies and consulates and such, you can call us and we'll help you find some resources there. Or you can go on our website, which is ajetpsg.com, and there are tons and tons of resources there available for you to find in your own time as well. And if you're interested in becoming a volunteer, our applications open in the early spring, usually around end of February, March. So you can find more information and applications on our website as well under the Become a Volunteer tab. And so that way you can pay it forward to the JET community once you feel like more established and comfortable here. So yeah, feel free, give us a call at any time you need.
So over the past year, these are some of the things that we have achieved. So we hold an annual AJET opinion exchange with the 4 ministries that Kay mentioned before. So CLAIR, MOFA, MEXT, and MIC, which is the Ministry of Internal Communications. And every year we send out a survey to JET program participants at the end of the year. So last year would have been like around like November time. This year, hopefully we can do it a little bit earlier. And each year we ask similar questions about general life in Japan and work life and such like that. However, depending on the year, we tend to focus on different areas. So in previous years, in 2024, for example, we looked at disaster relief, for example, and disaster preparation. And in 2025, which we held the opinion exchange in January 2026, we looked at housing, access to health services, and mental health support. and we communicated directly to CLAIR and the other 3 ministries the opinions and thoughts and experiences of current JET program participants and also alumni as well. We also established and re-established partnerships, which are so crucial in order for us to get funding so we can continue to support JET program participants. So we connected with the Japan Association for Language Teaching, JOLT, which is a fantastic professional learning resource. So I really recommend you look into JOLT, even just a quick Google. They hold conferences and sometimes free seminars for AOTs. Nishin Global, Wanikani previously, Eigo Gambare, and COMAS Japan, who will be speaking very shortly. The chair and vice chair attended the JET orientation in Tokyo. This year, they will not be attending in person, but instead we are very excited to have a longer amount of time to be able to engage with JETs through a video that will not only introduce our chair and vice chair, but the rest of our amazing team and other JETs across Japan. So very excited for that. We attended at the JOLT International Conference, so I would also highly recommend if you're a very proactive individual and want to improve your own learning and make connections. We re-established and reinforced our connections with the previous special interest groups that Kay mentioned before, like Stonewall Japan, the Asia Pacific Islander Group, Jets of African Descent, Jets Over 30s, etc. And we rebranded National AJET and held a series of online professional learning seminars. So this was at Tokyo Orientation, July 2025, so a year ago. So we had our fantastic Kay speaking to everyone. And then on the right-hand side, we had our former Vice Chair, Bricky, speaking directly to CIRs. In January, as I mentioned, we had the National Opinion Exchange. So Kay and our former Director of Translation and Interpreting, Shelby, presented the results of the survey, which you can also access on our website, which I'll tell you about later. We also had CLAIR speak to us as well and present and listen. So this was some of the team there. This was on the left-hand side, the National AJET team conversing with CLAIR. We also had the Ministry of Foreign Affairs talk about a regional internationalization seminar that was held in Nagasaki last year and is held in different prefectures to kind of inform JETs about ongoing efforts within the prefectures and to teach JETs about their prefecture so that when they return to their home countries, they can talk about the fantastic experiences they had. Yeah, so really fantastic experience. So talking about building community, in what ways has National AJET helped build community? So in about April-March, we held a nationwide bowling event aimed to foster connection across Japan by offering an inclusive, low-barrier recreational activity conducted simultaneously nationwide to strengthen a sense of community. So we had multiple teams around Japan submit their best scores. So we hope, again, to hold this in the future. So we had Gifu AJET, and we also had Nagano AJET, so some images they submitted. So fantastic way to connect with your local community. So next, I would like to introduce our guest speakers who will speak briefly about a fantastic opportunity that is tailored directly to JET program participants. Coming on the JET program, it's very important to immerse yourself in Japanese society and since Japan is a majority Japanese speaking country, it's very important to build on your Japanese skills. So I want to introduce Mark from COMAS Japan to speak about this importance and what this course that COMAS Japan has can offer you.
Thank you, Curtis. Good evening, everyone from Tokyo. My name is Mark, and I'm CEO of COMAS Japan. And COMAS Japan is based in Tokyo, and we deliver language training solutions. And I myself was a JET program participant. I was an ALT in Yamaguchi. And really during that time, I think the single most important thing that really enhanced my time on JET was like learning Japanese. I was based quite in the countryside, and there were very few people who spoke English. And so being able to learn Japanese really opened up so many doors in terms of being able to make connections with people, to talk to people in the local community, the other teachers in the schools, the BOE, and of course the students. And so really learning Japanese was an investment that has paid off 100-fold. And so with that in mind, we wanted to create a program that could really tailor learning for JETs so that you can really make the most of your time on the JET program and learn Japanese as quickly as possible so that you're able to really hit the ground running. So the program itself has three main elements. So we have weekly speaking sessions with our wonderful Japanese trainers. And we also have a fully integrated self-learning platform where you can basically learn by yourself at your own pace. And then also we're planning to have community sessions where you can ask like long-term residents in Japan and our trainers specific questions about Japanese so that you're able to get the perspective of other people who've already been through what you've been through. There are two tracks. The first is a foundations track, and that's for people who are lower level. Perhaps they haven't learned Japanese before. This is their first chance to actually learn it. And so one of the things about this track is we want really to get you speaking from day one and gain confidence as early on so that you're able to go out and use Japanese really as quickly as possible. The second track is the elevation. So this is for people who have maybe studied Japanese for a while, but they're looking to expand their range and be able to handle longer or more natural conversations. And so we're going to be able to cover both types of learners here. So the weekly speaking sessions, so these are 1 hour per week, and the focus is on communicating in real Japanese. So not just what's in the textbook, but stuff that actually people use in real life. And when you come to Japan, you'll find that there is often a difference between what's written in the textbook and how people actually talk. And so we want to be able to help you learn Japanese that sounds natural and can get you communicating easily. And we have really amazing trainers who will be there to support you and help you along your journey. And because the groups are going to be all JET program participants and in very small numbers, everybody's going to have really ample time to talk. And here we have Karin. So Karin is our senior trainer, and she's basically in charge of this program. So I'll pass it over to Karin just to say a few words.
Hi, こんばんは、皆さん。こんばんは. Hi, my name is Karen. So I'll be in charge some of the classes in this program as a trainer. So yeah, as Curtis-san and Mark-san said before, learning Japanese is really useful not only in your daily life, but also in the workplace, because we native Japanese are shy to speak English. So it can help you build a strong relationship with your colleagues and feel more connected to the people around you. And all of the trainers in this program, including me, are really kind and patient. So if this is the first time to learn Japanese with a trainer for you, you don't have to worry about it. Hi. So I believe this program will be very helpful for all of you as you begin your careers in Japan. So I'm looking forward to meeting you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karin. And then just to share a little bit about the self-study platform. So this has a lot of contents that you can use to learn Japanese at your own pace. And it's also connected to the speaking sessions. So it means that you can review what was covered in the sessions and also prepare for the next one. So it's fully integrated. And then there's grammar, there's vocabulary, listening practice, reading, quizzes also to see that you're retaining what you've been learning. And you can just download an app on your phone, so you can use it on your phone. There's also a desktop version, so if you wanted to use it while you're at school or at work, that's also fine. So we hope that this means that you can really keep a good pace. And the program is scheduled to start in August, towards the latter part. And so it gives you some time just to get settled in and get set up before you start your Japanese learning seriously. And currently we have an early bird discount. So if you can pre-register this month, then you're able to get it at a cheaper price. And the link is here in this QR code. So you can scan the QR code, or I can just put the link in the chat afterwards. And then once you're pre-registered, we'll contact you a little bit closer to the time and get you set up to start. So yeah, the JET program is a really wonderful experience. And I think by learning Japanese and being able to speak, you can really make it a an experience that can really supercharge your career afterwards. I know personally, the fact that I was in the countryside and there were very few other JETs around me, learning Japanese really helped me deal with the kind of loneliness at first of not being able to communicate. So for sure, it's something that it's a real advantage, and we're very happy that we can provide our support for JETs. So good luck, and hope to see you on your learning journey.
Moving on to our Q&A session today. So first, I want to touch back again on the role of National AJET, and I'd like our fantastic chair, Kay, to be able to have a chat about this one. So what do incoming JETs most often expect from us on National AJET to fix that we can't actually fix? So where does National AJET's role end and the contracting organizations begin?
Your employer is your contracting organization, so try your best to discuss any issues with your supervisor and rely on your local JETs for support. Speaking to your prefecture advisor about any serious issues is the route that CLAIR recommends. National AJET is here to offer you avenues to be heard. However, we do not have any power over your contracting organization. Other support services, AJET PSG, so peer support group, your local AJET chapters, and your block representatives within National AJET, CLAIR also offer their online counseling. So that's what we have written here. But to directly answer the question, what do incoming JETs most often expect National AJET to fix that you can't? Oftentimes, I would say there is a belief that we are able to advocate on behalf of JET participants. Should there be injustice, should there be situations where JET's rights are not being respected and labor is not being correctly handled, oftentimes JET participants will reach out to National AJET, and it is very unfortunate that we do not have any power over contracting organizations. We do not have the ability to advocate on your behalf to your contracting organizations. But what we can do instead is we can provide you with resources that can help guide you. As Curtis has already mentioned, things like the JET program handbook, we are able to help provide you with avenues that you can go down to pursue support. So we more so play an advisory role for the JET participant, but we do not have the ability to speak on behalf of the JET participant. To say where does the National AJET's role end and the contracting organization's role begin, I would actually say to flip it. It's more the contracting organization begins and ends, and National AJET is fully outside of the Venn diagram. We don't overlap. The circles aren't overlapping. We are over here and your organization's over here, but we are ultimately here to support you for resources when you face times of trouble.
Of the issues AJET has raised with CLAIR and the ministries through the opinion exchange that I previously mentioned, which ones are we generally optimistic about changing, and which long-standing ones keep stalling, and why?
We are currently working on a project to highlight what National AJET has addressed over the years for the National Opinion Exchange and the outcomes it had. Keep an eye on our Instagram. Now, that is to give my personal answer of the issues AJET has raised with CLAIR and the ministries. Which ones are we genuinely optimistic about changing? Well, I would say that one that I'm genuinely optimistic about changing is the access to support for those within marginalized communities, specifically for accessing health support with those who are within the LGBTQI plus communities. The previous opinion exchange report that came through highlighted that there is a lot of difficulties, especially for JET participants that are based in more rural locations, to access support if you are a member of this community. And through our opinion exchange, we created a report and also did a in-person meeting with CLAIR and the 3 ministries. I would say that we did a very positive conversation, and we're able to put forward the lived experiences of JET participants. not just being able to speak on our own stories, but sharing the stories of JETs nationwide. I think that's the most powerful aspect of National AJET, is we are able to highlight these inconsistencies and these injustices that are occurring nationwide. Just because you are somebody who requires specialized healthcare doesn't mean it should be difficult to access. So I do hope that with collaboration with CLAIR, there'll be able to be better support systems in place, even if those support systems are then being aware of what locations are just inappropriate for people to be placed in. I hope that through this collaboration, it will change. And a long-standing one that keeps stalling, and why? So many. Oh, how much time do we have? I would have to say there are many things, and to pick one would just be an injustice to the rest. One that I think is often coming up when we look past the previous reports, I believe that access to affordable and safe housing is one that repeatedly has just come up throughout the years. I would say, especially when there are instances of natural disasters, things like big earthquakes, things like tsunamis, they tend to bring forward a lot of these fears and concerns once again. And I do not have a solution as to how approach any of these issues that are popping up, but all we can do is highlight the fears and concerns of JET participants and shout and shout and shout and hope that our voices will be heard in those specific areas. Thank you.
No problem. So if you are interested in exploring that more, you can go onto our National AJET website, where we have information of the last couple of years of opinion exchanges. So you just head to our website and go to opinion exchange, and you can find all the previous ones. Not all of them, but like the last few years. So what do you wish you packed before moving?
Hi, I'm Carissa. I'm from Massachusetts in America. I'm in Miyazaki Prefecture, and that is the third most south you can go in Japan. And I like sharks. So moving to Japan, please, please, please bring deodorant from your home country. Please, please, please bring deodorant from your own country. So there's so much different about Japan as far as like the food that people put into their bodies compared to our home countries. And so how their bodies react to things, are like the heat is just very different from where I'm from where you're from. So pack your own deodorant. Similarly, I would also recommend pack your home country's toothpaste as well. I have toothpaste that I brought from America. There's fluoride in it, and like there's charcoal toothpaste that I brought from home, and things like that are not exactly available here. Along with that, having access to yen and handheld cash is going to be really important, whether that's from like you just exchange it in your home country, or there's some way, or maybe you have a credit card that you could, not a credit card, sorry, an ATM card that you can use for the ATMs here to withdraw yen. That would be fantastic. Especially, I'm in a small town, and most places actually don't accept card here. So it's going to be really important that you have some cash. And always, if you are driving, make sure you have your IDP or your international driving permit with you at all times if you are in a vehicle.
Hair care, especially like curly hair care, that's kind of almost non-existent here. So bring a few of those if you need it. For the ladies, if you need tampons, bring those, because Japanese ones are kind of so kind of toiletries, maybe if you have certain toiletries that you do like, just pack a few extra and bring those over. Sometimes you can get them off of iHerb or Amazon, or if you have friends or family back home that are kind enough to ship some over, but just in case, bring a few of your own for when you first get here. Cash, because you're not necessarily sure. There can be like sneaky surprise things that happen that you weren't expecting. So even if your CO or your PA sends you kind of an exact, like, oh, here's what you will need for rent, or if you're buying a car from your predecessor or new, or any fees like that, just bring a bit extra. Yes, like Curtis said, it can take a while to get the bank account set up. So just having cash on hand is really, really nice, because worst case, if you have all that extra cash and you don't use it, then you just put it in the bank once your bank account's set up. So it works out nice. And then eventually you can get a Japanese driving license. That I didn't really think about until just this last year after being here for 7 years, was bring some things from home, like some decor or little trinkets or pictures, anything that kind of sparks joy with you, like a plushie, a figure, a CD, a book. Having some like decor and stuff that you can place around your apartment when you first get here can really help to make it feel more like home, especially when you're, just kind of thrown into an empty apartment. You're in a new country, whole new kind of chapter in life, and it can be really exciting, but also overwhelming. And having those bits of connection to your home can feel really, really nice and help mentally with just like feeling like, oh, this is my home, whether it's for a year or 5 years or whatever. But yeah, I recommend bringing that over. I brought over some scarves that I could like put on furniture, like drape around, and kind of probably too much stuff, but it's okay.
What are some recommended like gifts, for example, that you should bring from your home country, and like how many should you give out? And
Bring enough for every member of your staff. So I'm an ALT, so speaking for like however many teachers are on staff. So principal, vice principal, and then, you can try to find out how many teachers work with you. If you can't get that exact number, that's okay. Try to bring maybe like 25 to 30. Try to figure out that number. And then snacks are a great one. Prepackaged snacks like Rice Krispie treats. Multiple schools, just worry about your main school. I mean, you can, of course, bring more for all of your other schools, but it gets a bit complicated. So snacks are a great one. Postcards can be fun. Maybe a couple of those for like your supervisor, your principal, and your vice principal. I brought I brought snacks, and then I brought a couple of keychains because I'm from right across from NASA. And so I brought some space shuttle and astronaut keychains that I got from the Kennedy Space Center. I brought those for my supervisor, vice principal, and principal. Yes, but don't bring anything for the students. If you do, you could bring like pennies. I brought US pennies and gave those out like during my introduction lesson or something, but usually food is frowned upon. You shouldn't be giving that to students or anything, but snacks, everybody loves snacks, so I'd bring those.
I brought stickers from, I used to work at a dairy farm in Massachusetts, and I brought stickers with the dairy farm's name and cute little cow pictures on it. Something small like stickers is good. Something small like individually wrapped cookies or snacks.
I had a quick question regarding the omiyagi. When do I give the omiyagi? I'm not really sure. Like, would it be rude if I just start giving as soon as I come in, or do I have to wait? Is there like a cultural cue?
But the time of day is really, really important. So, and this is when you give out omiyage in general, and the other senpai on the team probably agree that when you give out omiyage, souvenirs of any kind, you should do it at the end of the school day when students have kind of gone home. It's kind of seen as like a little, it's not disrespectful, but they kind of just don't want the students to see the teachers receiving food and eating food. So you just go around at the end of the school day when the students have pretty much mostly left, and you just go around and hand it to the teachers or just pop it on their desk as well.
It really depends on the school. I think I probably have like given out omiyage like not at the end of the day. I will say I do have times, maybe about the best time to give omiyage is usually in the staff room. They have morning meetings and it can be very busy. Honestly, it's kind of read the room if everyone's like having meetings, maybe not the best time to pass out snacks. I do know, honestly, what I did when I first came is I actually asked my one of my JTE supervisor, is I went directly to her and I was like, hey, I kind of have these little like omiyage I'd like to give out. What would be the best way to do that? Honestly, I think that's one of the best ways. that because each school really is different. At my school, they pass it out individually. Other schools, they put it in the like coffee room and kind of in a box. Honestly, I think best bet is ask your supervisor at that school, hey, what's the best way? And then once you got that, then if you ever want to give out more omiyage in the future, then you kind of got the drill.
I'd have to echo Blair saying, ask your supervisor, ask whoever is giving you the tour of the school. They'll be able to give you good insight. Also, ask your local, if there's any other like ALTs in your area, they'll also be able to give you an insight. And if you're very lucky and get to meet your predecessor, that's someone else that you can ask as well. I always, I'm in a junior high school, and so they have their morning meeting in which all the teachers go off to homeroom. That is when I put my Santa hat on and I go around and like put the omiyage on the desks. So that's my method that I do. But there is no extreme right answer. It's as Blair, I think Curtis said, just read the air and kind of don't give it out if they're busy, and don't give it out if there's kids in the room, ultimately.
One kind of note about snacks and food in general too. Of course, just be aware of like allergies. And then also expiration dates. If you're bringing kind of like nice, more freshly made like local sweets or something like that, just be aware of the expiration date and if it'll, pass by the time you get through with Tokyo orientation and get set up at your place and get to school for the first time. So yeah, just be aware of the ingredients and expiration dates.
Do you need to set up everything yourself? When do you get your bank account set up?
No, you do not need to set up everything yourself. Your supervisor, contracting organization, they should really, really help with a lot of that stuff, especially like bank account, getting your residence card set up with the local city hall, getting your apartment, like signing all of the papers. If you sign the papers instead of your Board of Education signing the papers. If there are car things too, depending, sometimes they will help you. Like, for example, I bought my predecessor's car from her. And so my supervisor helped me sign the papers to transfer over the title and then set up the car insurance. Your supervisor should be helping you. Of course, Japanese workers and Japanese teachers have a lot of work that they're doing. They're super busy, but this time is a really important time for you. And so don't be afraid if your supervisor is kind of, they're kind of doing it quickly, or they're kind of like, oh, I don't really have time to help you set up at City Hall, or I don't have time to help you with your bank account. Kind of push for their help, or at least push for them to get someone else to help you with, I think, housing, City Hall, residence card, and bank account. Because it's understandable that they're incredibly busy and they have a lot, so this might not be super high priority. And most of the time, they're so incredibly helpful. But just in case, don't be afraid to kind of say, hey, I'm new to this country. I don't know how the systems work here. I really need your help with this. And if you can't help, that's okay. But can you help me? Like, can you find someone else to help me, like a different JTE or something like that? So don't be afraid to stand up for yourself a bit with that.
Possible to get in contact with the person who held our position before us. So about now, your contracting organization should have put you in contact with your predecessor. Some contracting organizations, as Nikki said, like some supervisors are busy Japanese teachers. This is especially for like high school supervisors, because you'll be assigned to generally a high school and they are full-time teachers. So you're very, very busy, but they should be contacting you via your email over the next week or two. If you start to not hear from them after a while, please you can always reach out to us and we can always try to figure it out for you. Or also contacting your prefecture advisor, which can access the information as previously mentioned. There's a process of setting up Wi-Fi and a local SIM.
Okay, so this process, and if anybody has, like any council members have anything to add to this, please do. So the process, you have to have your bank account set up first, and your residency card and that local residency card, all of that needs to be set up first. And then after that, you can get some internet for your house. And then depending on what you go with, I have all your kind of official documentation that you live here and you have your visa and you have means of finances coming in before you can set it up. And then you can get help. You can check with your supervisor, see if they can help you, since it's a lot of Japanese. You can, if you have other JETs in your area, you can see what they did and if any of them would be willing to help you and have the Japanese to do that. Your apartment building might already have Wi-Fi that you can just kind of sign a contract with and get access to. I know for me, I actually used my downstairs neighbor. He offered that I could use his Wi-Fi for the first month or so while I got all of mine set up and figured out, if I wanted to do SoftBank or Docomo or what company to go with. So if you have any neighbors near you, you might be able to ask. There's pocket Wi-Fi's also available just to kind of get you by.
I'll echo the borrowing the neighbor's Wi-Fi. This can, obviously, there are JETs in my region who do not have a neighbor. So in that case, they did do the pocket Wi-Fi route. And this is also when it can be very great if they have gotten in contact with you or you are able to get in contact with them, to get in contact with either your predecessor or anyone living in the area, because it also can depend regionally what the best Wi-Fi company is to use, where to sign up. The one thing I would say is to check if your phone is SIM locked. And if you don't know what SIM locked means, from my knowledge, it pretty much means that you may be in the process of paying off your phone. It is not completely paid, or your carrier is region locked.
Yeah.
So I would Google how to check. There's a process. For each phone, you go in your settings, click cellular. So that is just very important to check, because depending on that, it can be very difficult to then get a SIM here in Japan. So that is just one thing I would mention. Just double check that.
Exactly. Prior to coming as well, I got my Japanese SIM after as we mentioned before, after I got my bank account and residency set up. But from setting up my bank account and residency, I needed data. So before I came to Japan, I just got a tourist eSIM that you can buy online. There's also Sakura, as you mentioned before, that offers discounts for JETs, and they will also be at the orientation. And I think mobile as well also have an offer as well. So those can be your kind of bridging data SIMs until you get that bank account and residency card set up. So you can get an actual Docomo or Rakuten or SoftBank SIM card and or Wi-Fi.
One you could maybe do is also CLAIR, because I've used that when traveling abroad in general. So maybe they have, different term, however many months or days that you want to use that. You could get that for kind of a short thing while you wait to get set up here. I used Google Fi in the US, and that was my phone carrier for years. And then they have where for 6 months while you're abroad, your data and your phone, it's perfectly fine. So I also was able to use data on my phone for 6 months with Google Fi. And then it cuts out and it stops. But in that time, I was able to get home Wi-Fi as well as a phone plan and a SIM card for my phone. So CLAIR or Google Fi could be an option, but I do recommend the other ones that have nice bundles and stuff for JETs, and they will be at Tokyo orientation, quite a few of them. So that's really convenient too.
Exactly. But again, those are temporary ones. And once you actually go into your local city, then your predecessor or your supervisor should hopefully give you guidance on a Wi-Fi or SIM that they recommend. I went to Docomo and I got a bundle pack where I got a SIM card for my phone and a home Wi-Fi in the same bundle as well. So your senpai should have some ideas. So about rent, are we paying in advance in cash or by credit card? How many months rent are we paying in advance?
I believe that cash is kind of the way to go. I haven't heard in my areas, and I live quite rural, so that could be it. Maybe if you're in a more urban area, it's different. But I don't recommend credit card for rent because a lot of landlords, they will only take cash, and they will take it out of your bank account like automatically each month. So again, having cash that you can deposit into the bank account once you get that set up with your supervisor and stuff. Yeah, and then it depends. Of course, there's maybe a security deposit. There might be 1 to 2 months rent, upfront. There could also be the lovely Japanese key money that is just like gift money that you're giving to your landlord to say thanks for letting me live here. My situation, my landlord didn't ask for anything upfront. He just said, okay, give me your bank account information. And then he just took it out monthly. That is a very, very rare and lucky setup, I think. My guy is just like, I don't know. It's an old building and he's just chilling, kind of not too strict. But that is not common. So definitely talk with your predecessor if you can. See what they had to do when they first came, or if they have updated information of what you will need, because they could maybe ask their, the supervisor while they're still here, say, hey, what will they need? Can you contact the landlord? Or if you have access to contacting your supervisor directly, you can ask them as well to see if they know or can get in contact with your landlord. But yes, I would not expect to be able to pay with a credit card.
It really does depend where what the setup your contractor organization has. So if they haven't told you already when they contacted you, that would be something great to ask them. In my case, we do have a setup where it is taken out of our bank account monthly, but it is not by credit card. It's not like a credit placed on our account. It is from our bank account, and that was specifically set up with our contract organization. So there are cases like that, but it really depends on the region.
Exactly. Like for me, in my area, we pay with cash to our supervisor with our monthly meetings or 2 monthly meetings, 2 months worth of rent. And they put it in a little envelope, and then on our behalf, they go to the bank themselves and they pay at the bank in cash.
Instead of it just automatically coming out of your bank account and you're not really having to think about it, they get a bill, just like a gas bill or an electric bill. And then they have to go to the bank and they have to do the kind of like a wire transfer each time. I forget what it's called in Japanese, but they have to go to the ATM or the teller and do a direct transfer to their landlord's account each month.
I want to say it's furikomi.
And it is, once you learn how to do it, then you'll do it each month and it gets pretty simple. But just being aware of whether this is going to come out automatically so you don't have to think about it, or if this is a bill that I'm going to have to make sure I physically do each month, whether it's cash or the transfer furikomi.
So going on to any financial tips, we've had a few questions relating about, we've already talked about housing a little bit with the rent, but in regards to taxes, insurances, bills, for example. So on our Instagram, we have, I think it's a year ago now, but it's still very relevant, the information about what types of bills you might get in the mail. They all generally come in the mail. When you first get here, most of the time you'll go to a convenience store, and it should have a barcode, and the tenin, the person working at the convenience store, will scan it, and then you pay in cash how much is for your gas, and hopefully your supervisor should be able to help you to do automatic taking it out of your bank as well. Sometimes they don't. I've got a friend who's still going to the convenience store and paying that way as well. For US citizens, if you have questions about the tax exemption, there is information on the Kumamoto jets as well. So I really recommend you checking that out. So we had a question about bicycles. So are bicycles realistic year round, including winter?
It really depends on your region.
Yes.
So in some places, it can be realistic year round, and it's, summer, winter, spring, fall, no problem. But if you're in a rural area, and maybe your school is quite far away, like it would be like an hour bike ride or something, that might get tough in the summer or the winter. It might be tough in general as well. That's quite a long bike ride. But maybe if you like biking a lot, go for it. In like Fukui, for example, our winters are quite harsh. And so biking in a rural area, but also even in the city, my friends can't bike during winter because maybe it's not necessarily icy, but there will be like the snow plows will put all of the snow like kind of in these huge piles either on the sidewalk or on the side of the road. So the roads, yes, like Blair said, they get really narrow and it can be dangerous because you're squished in there with the cars. So it can be more safe or safer, I should say, or just easier to walk instead of biking in the winter times. And then summer gets really, really hot. So just please be aware of heat stroke and stuff. It gets quite humid and hot. So, but for the most part, biking is pretty good. And it depends on how far away you are. If you want to use a car or a bike or what kind of conveniences, or of course trains and walking are quite available here.
And going further, talking about cars, is there's no rules against having a car. So some contracting organizations mistakenly say that they can't have a car, period. That's not true, but they can limit and ban using it to work. So they might say you're not allowed to drive your car to and from work. However, it doesn't mean that you can't have a car. But of course, you need to work at getting a license. So your international driver's license is only available for, I don't know the time period off the top of my head, but it's a short time, I think a year perhaps.
It's a year, it's a year from when you get it, not from when you get in Japan, from when you actually get it from wherever institution.
I had a neighbor who hers expired 6 months after getting to Japan, and that was a big surprise. So
Really? They didn't have the year?
No, and I'm not sure if it's because it started when she got it and if that was super early before coming to Japan somehow or what, but it was kind of a shock to her. And so, definitely.
Check those dates.
Yes.
Check those dates thoroughly.
And
you don't want to be caught with that one because,
Exactly. And then look into being able to transfer it to a Japanese license as soon as you can. Moving on, are there any common hidden costs that incoming jets underestimate in terms of housing? I'm just going to quickly summarize this and you guys can read it. Generally, no. Like generally, the furniture and appliances tend to be from the BOE. Your predecessor will leave items. But again, your predecessors vary, right? So hopefully we all have good predecessors who throw away anything that is not usable and leave items of good quality, but that might not be always the case. But if they do, you should contact your supervisor in gaining support in removing items that are damaged or, not good quality. Some things to be mindful of is be careful of your tatami, which is the rice straw. So there's tatami rooms. Be very careful. Do not walk on it with shoes and or slippers. I think socks should be okay. And then your air conditioner as well. So make sure to clean your air conditioner units. Insurance depends on the situation as well. So for me, like my insurance is linked to my rent and is sorted with my supervisor, so that's no issue, but that might not be the same everywhere. One thing I was a little surprised about, because I'm leaving, is that you generally have to pay a cleaning fee. This is anywhere. And even if your apartment is clean and spick and span, there tends to always be a cleaning fee, and that could be between 40,000 to 80,000 yen. which is a lot. That's like 400 to 800 USD. And of course, energy costs are increasing. I heard that the air conditioning subsidy that used to be in place might not be in place anymore.
Yeah, they
And-
got rid of it, or like they're reducing it.
Yeah. And NHK, which is the national broadcaster, has a legal fee that pretty much everyone has to pay if you have any form of way of like broadcasting anything. So if, for example, your mansion or your apartment has an antenna, that can count as broadcasting. Blair mentioned previously at this previous session that if you have a car and that has a TV screen in that car, that counts as broadcasting. So they will come and potentially knock on your door or send you letters. Legally, you have to pay. However, if you don't open your door and speak to them, you don't open your door and speak to them. If your letters happen to fall into the bin and you don't see them, then it just happens. And they can't hunt you down and sue you, for example. So, yeah. So, for example, I don't pay any fees for NHK. They've sent me lots of letters, but I just throw it in the bin. So what are common cultural mistakes that new AOTs make in the first few months? I was going to continue. Adapting to any new way of life, even in your home country, can be challenging. I moved to Sydney from my hometown a couple of years ago, and even that was challenging. Living by myself for the first time and living in a new city, even though it's in my own country, is very challenging. So adding on top of that, the language barrier and potential cultural differences can be very challenging in the first few months, like figuring out where the local supermarket is, how do I pay, what are they asking me, figuring out how to get the public transport, where the bus stop is, how to get to my school. This is very common issues that you'll face. So please bear with it and try to enjoy the experience and immerse yourself as well. But looking back for me when I first came, it was very a little daunting and unfamiliar, which is very normal. But looking back, I look back with nostalgia. Healthcare in Japan. So getting first specialist appointment to get a prescription refill for a chronic condition, what's the best way to go about it? So first bet, just like similar to all of our home countries, or for me personally, is you go see your local clinic or hospital. So in Australia, for example, we have our GP clinics and we also have like a hospital. And the hospital, you go to the emergency room and you sit there for hours and you wait and you see a doctor. Whilst for a clinic or a GP or a physician, you generally in our home countries make an appointment, right? And it's for like a 15-minute slot. In Japan, all clinics and all hospitals generally follow like the emergency room system where you rock up and you write your name down and you just wait until it's your turn, rather than ringing up and making an appointment. Some places might have appointment-based. You should generally ring up the hospital first, or if it's your first time going to a clinic, speaking to your senpai AOTs or your supervisor to get support. Most of the time they should be pretty on board to assist you with your first visit, but generally for additional visits, it's put onto you. And then if you need to see a specialist, you speak to that clinic doctor and they can refer you to a specialist. I do have to note though, I found out recently I had sinus issues and I needed to see the ear, nose and throat specialist. I thought it would be referral system like in Australia. So I saw my doctor first at my local clinic and I found out that for ear, nose and throat, you can actually go directly to them. And that's the same for OBGYN and also urology as well, which also offer sexual health testing as well. Yeah, so the specialist or doctor will then write the prescription, and then for this person who wrote this, opposite side of the parking lot for them, you find the closest pharmacy, wherever that may be. Quite often it should be near if you're lucky.
I was going to say sometimes, at least in my region, a lot of the pharmacies actually, it's usually if you get the medication at the clinic, for example, if you go to like a NICA, the internal medicine,
Yeah.
and they prescribe you cold medicine, they will usually, not always, sometimes have a pharmacy like inside that clinic or next to it. So that can be great. Means you do have to wait sometimes a bit longer because it's the same like system procedure, but I really love it. It makes things a lot easier for me.
Really recommend speaking to your predecessor and your senpai about their recommendations for local clinics. It sometimes can be difficult to find English-speaking clinics as well, especially in rural areas. Probably most to all doctors probably speak Japanese only. So finding or building community. What advice do you have for JETs who want to be more involved in the community? What characteristics make an outstanding JET? What should JETs keep in mind to best navigate life in Japan and hurdle those cultural shock difficulties?
I think the best way to get involved with the community is to just reach out, just, talk to people. If you see flyers for things like around town, like events and stuff, try to do those, as well as if people, like if any teachers or somebody invites you to do a workshop or an event or go somewhere, of course, as long as you feel safe, doing so. But say yes, try to say yes to lots of different opportunities when you first get here, because it's a great way to connect. It can open up a lot of doors, and you can learn what you do like and enjoy, and even what you don't like and enjoy. But either way, it's still a good experience. And I think just being open and, friendly, doing it with a smile, and just being open to whatever the experience lends itself, whether it ends up being super exciting, or even if you're, you kind of leave it and you're like, that wasn't maybe the best, or that was like awkward or not quite as much fun. That's okay, because you still learn a lot from it. So just getting involved, just being out there and talking to people and connecting.
Exactly. But also, we're all different individuals, and some of us might be a little bit more introverted or shy. And that's okay, because there's also online communities, as we might have seen or heard before. We have our incoming JETS Discord server, and we have our special interest groups. So it's really important to not only just connect with your local community and your local JETs, but to also find your own community as well, whether that may be online or, for example, but just by doing different things, you can make new friends. Like I go to the local gym, and I was able to make acquaintances with Japanese people at the local gym. Are they my best friends? No, but I get along with them, and they invite me to certain things as well, which is fantastic. But for myself as well, I sometimes go to Tokyo, and because I do dancing, and so I connect with the dance community. So finding your community through your interests and your hobbies. I know someone who did the traditional Japanese archery. They were able to find a community through their archery. They didn't do archery in America, but when they came to Japan, they tried something new, and they found a community through that. So it's discovering new things, and also trying to find a community through something you're already passionate about, like art, for example. Sharing it with your students, sharing it with fellow colleagues, anyone who will listen. Questions about the chapters as well. So again, speak to those in your local area what already exists, and if one doesn't happen to exist, for example, which is a little rare, there should be something existing already. You just got to try and find it. If you gather others in your local community that have that same drive to restart or start a chapter, you can contact us, and we will help you get that started.
If you feel up to it, don't be afraid to also start your own community. If you are looking for, a certain kind of community, like I really wanted to play tabletop RPGs, and I was missing that kind of community from back home, but no one was able to, like Dungeon Master, nobody was able to run any campaigns or anything. And so eventually I just decided, okay, I'm going to learn how to do the DMing, and I'll pick a campaign, and then I'll see if, I reached out through my local AJET Chapters Facebook page and, said, hey, anybody interested in this? And so then they were. And so even though maybe I'm not very good and I'm very new to DMing, but I just started a community. So don't be afraid to do that for yourself as well. If you can't find exactly what you're looking for, don't be afraid. It's all got to start from somebody, and that could be you.
Exactly. And we also have ups and downs as well. So yeah, when you first get to your placement, hopefully it's very, very exciting, but just be ready to perhaps have down moments and up moments on the program. It's not always going to be up, it's not always going to be down. So that's something that I learned on the program. Continuing on to Japanese language learning, I'll quickly go through this. So how well were you able to learn Japanese on the JET program? Was there a good environment to learn? Any advice? So CLAIR has an online Japanese language learning platform that has been recently updated. You'll hear about it in the CLAIR news emails that you will be receiving. Your contracting organization or BOE may refer you to your local organization that may offer lessons. So for example, my international association in Iwaki has some tutors available. And we had COMAS Japan talking before about our JET program tailored courses as well. I got a lot of questions in the survey about, are you fluent in Japanese? Do I need to be fluent in Japanese? What is fluency, right? You could study Japanese for 10 years and not be fluent, right? Does fluency matter? No, right? It's all about communication, surviving, enjoying life. So just be proactive in engaging with and learning Japanese. Like push yourself to try your best to learn Japanese and use these avenues that are available, but don't feel guilty. For example, I didn't study my 50 minutes Japanese today. Give yourself leniency as well because you're working full-time as well. But as you live in Japan, it will get smoother, you'll make connections, you build community, and your Japanese will build over time. We had a lot of questions for studying on JET, and this is our last topic.
Getting a master's while on JET, this is a pretty worthwhile pursuit, but kind of as the slide says, you kind of want to wait until your later years, most likely on JET, just because things change a lot during your first 2 years. First, I've heard the term pretty much, or heard people say it takes about a year to actually get used to living in Japan, maybe sometimes even longer. There are actually a good amount of, or not a good amount, but there are some programs that are catered to JETs that, for example, there's tuition discounts for higher degree learning. There's also something you have to consider is whether you want to get your master's degree in Japan from a Japanese university or one abroad. And managing that's going to be, on a case-by-case basis. So that's something you really have to consider as well. Also, keep in mind there are some, like education majors which you may think maybe, I can use my ALT experience and attribute that maybe to my core schools. But once again, that's also depending on, the program. And basically the whole thing is part of the reason why they don't want us to have any other employment other than what we're doing as ALTs is it's going to potentially interfere with our job duties. So that's something also to consider about getting a master's is
you don't want it to impact your work commitments already. Being an AOT is a fantastic introduction to teaching, and if you come to love it, which many happen to do, pursuing a master's of teaching or education back in your home country is the best plan rather than trying to start it in Japan whilst on the JET program. It just won't work. The careers post-JET. So how can the JET program assist you career-wise after JET? This is about non-education careers. So the JET program offers an internship program for second years and above, but for a working level with Japanese. So that's around N2 is the minimum, and it happens in the summer break period as well. It's quite competitive as well. JET offers a career fair in Tokyo and Osaka every year, specifically for finding employment after JET. So 50 to 100 companies present. There's also a career vision webinar as well. And National AJET, we will continue to post on Instagram about these opportunities as well. We do a lot of collaborations with a lot of companies to share with JETs the possibilities outside of education that's available. But realistically though, if you want to pursue a career outside of English language education, you do need a working level of Japanese. So that's why it's very, very important, as Mark mentioned, to start your Japanese learning journey early on so that you have that potential career in Japan in the future. I have taught before, but not elementary students. What are some good strategies for managing and engaging younger students?
Yeah, I would say, younger students, the most important thing is building rapport. Before you think, I need to be a good teacher, the first thing is just to build relationships and build trust. And sometimes you have to accept that that's going to take time, regardless of whether you're the most charismatic person or you're great with kids. I noticed in Japan, building a rapport takes time. Sometimes Japan's a very, relationship-based society. So managing your expectations on gaining the students' kind of trust is important. But also, one thing that I've always learned is if you want to teach something, if you can make it a game and you can make it competitive, those two things usually have never failed me in the classroom. So think about that when you're thinking about a lesson plan.
Yes, so we've had lots and lots of questions about starting a school in Japan. So because of that, we're going to be running a separate session targeting that exactly, talking about tips about teaching, managing students, structuring a lesson, information how Japanese schools work, and that will be coming up on July 11th, 2026 on a Saturday. Again, we'll have 2 sessions. So session 1 is 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Japanese Standard Time, and session 2 is 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And they'll be presented by myself and with Bobby as well. So the QR code is on the screen, and the link is also in the PowerPoint slide, which I'll be sharing the slides afterwards as well. So I highly, highly recommend to sign up to that one if you're interested to find out working as an ALT in Japan. Just some quick ones about working in Japan, which we won't really cover in the seminar that's coming up. So if JET ALTs in the same prefecture meet up monthly for workshops or meetings?
Yes, we do. We also, as mentioned before, we do have the skill development workshop. That's going to vary by prefecture, but that's a very, very important thing. For my prefecture, what we do is every ALT has to come up with a lesson, regardless if they're going to present or not. So that's just something you want to think about, is building your skills for lesson planning. And we also have plenty of, last year, Curtis ran a lot of professional development workshops. We have guest teachers and guest speakers, university teachers as well that have gone through the JET program, and they kind of offer insight as well. And we also have our teach meets that we did last year as well, which kind of serves as almost like a therapy session for us to kind of vent and see what's going on in our daily lives in the classroom. And it's that's been really helpful. I feel like sometimes we just have to vent to other people in our same kind of situation, and they usually have really good advice. So
yeah, so hopefully we can continue doing our Teach Meet seminars where you bring one activity that you thought worked well, that you would like to share with others. There's no expectation that you have to bring something. You can just attend and listen and chat as well. Moving on, so when teaching classes, I had this question of do I need to know Japanese? Do I only speak English? Bobby, what are your thoughts about the speaking Japanese or English in the class?
Well, it's very tempting to want to speak Japanese, especially when you feel like your point's not getting across. You kind of just want to see what your JTE allows. And the thing is you don't have to, if they say absolutely no English, if they just say that, they're going to say that maybe as their default answer. But if you show them why speaking a little bit of Japanese is important, once again, the thing about building rapport, especially with your JTE, is going to take time. You can tell them the perfect reason why you want to speak Japanese, but regardless, you have that time and that trust has to be developed. And slowly but surely, maybe they'll say, okay, yeah, maybe with this student, he needs a little bit more direction. So yeah, why don't you speak Japanese with him? Etc. So
100%. And we also had a question about when will we hear about which level of students we'll be teaching. This is a quick answer, is your contracting organization, when you arrive, will let you know what schools you're placed at, and then when you head to those schools, you'll be told by your there should generally be a lead teacher that takes care of the ALT at each school, and they should approach you, or please ask who it is within your first couple of days to find out what school life is like at that school and what grades you're teaching. But you should generally be given, hopefully, textbooks or point in the right direction to access the learning materials. When are the best times to take leave?
Usually the best time to take leave, Japan is kind of generous with a lot of public holidays, but Generally, the summer is great, late July to August, and you all will be coming during that time. So that's a typical transition period. Winter break also during the New Year's, and also we have spring break, or what we call Golden Week around here. So once again, don't just assume that you're going to have that time off. Check with your supervisors. Maybe there's something popping up. Maybe there's a special ceremony. You never know. So definitely double check on that.
Exactly. And you will also hopefully get paid leave as well. So it varies between 10 to 20 days. I would be careful using paid leave, as sometimes you might need to use that to go to the bank or to set up your Wi-Fi. And in Japan, a lot of teachers use paid leave as their sick leave as well. But we're very lucky in the JET program that CLAIR has made it mandatory that all prefectures offer a minimum of 10 days sick leave. But sick leave is a little bit stricter compared to our home countries, and you might have to go to a clinic even on the first day or third day and get a receipt or a doctor's certificate as well. So they are quite strict in relation to your 10 days of sick leave. We have questions about what are my responsibilities, right? So a lot of this is covered in the General Information Handbook and refer to there. But it's also up to your contracting organization on how they best want to utilize you. But generally, you're an assistant language teacher, so there should be no expectation to supervise students or be alone in the classroom, because that's illegal. You don't have a teaching license. So please, if that happens, speak to your vice principal or to your supervisor. Or like you shouldn't have to take on a role that is similar to an actual teacher. Sometimes you might be asked to assist with marking. It's up to you if you want to say yes or no. Like if you want to be generous, you can say yes. If you're already stressed and you can't take it on, you can say no. There's no 100% obligation. Talking more about your role as an AOT, I had questions about research, preparation, organization, giving speeches, arranging trips, being the lead teacher. So there tends to be somewhat of a contradiction sometimes about the role of being an AOT, which we discussed with CLAIR at the opinion exchange. And many senpai like us and alumni can tell you, and also found in a recent publicized book, which is by Nathaniel Reed, More Than an Assistant, is that many AOTs indeed T1, which is become teacher one, lead teacher in class. There's pros and cons to this. Pro is that you get a say in shaping the lesson, so that you might find a way to assist students. But generally, we're team teaching, so we really want to work with our colleagues to shape the lesson. But it really depends on the experience of both the Japanese teacher and the AOT. If your Japanese colleague, your homeroom teacher or JDE, has confidence in their English teaching ability, then they will take the lead and you will assist. But if they lack confidence and they can see that you have an ability or you have like a teaching background, they might lean on you a little bit more. But at the end of the day, we're assistants, so T2 should be our role. But that's not always the case. So please be clear about your boundaries. You can say no. If they ask you to start or finish before your contract time, then you can also start later. You can start later or finish later to make up that time. Don't just go and do it automatically though. Don't just like do it without saying anything. You need to get permission though. If they say, hey, can you please work until 5 p.m. today? Then you say, sure, but can I start 1 hour later tomorrow? And that discussion should be with a supervisor. Or you say, I'm sorry, no, my contract time finishes at 4 p.m., for example. So just be sure about your contract hours. So for example, if you work Monday to Friday and they ask you to work on a Saturday, for example, to run like a camp, for example, or to come for a sports day that is compulsory for you, then you should get special leave, daikyu, added so that you can use that on another day. So you should get that day back. If a teacher suddenly asks you to teach a class and you're not prepared, they come like 5 minutes before the class, you can say, sure, I can assist you in teaching the lesson, but they can't be like, oh, make a game for me. You're like, I'm sorry, I need a little bit more time to prepare the game for you. And just remind them of being professional as well, because we're not only working with experienced teachers, we're also working with beginner teachers as well. And so they're also learning how schools work and how to be professional and how to communicate as well. So I've had to tell a few Japanese colleagues to be professional in how they communicate. Please give me more notice. Don't tell me 5 minutes before a class. And if they email you or contact you out of work hours, there's no obligation for you to answer. It's common courtesy as well. You should be contacted within your work hours. So this is a book that I mentioned before. If you want to get more insight about, it's a very big book with very lots of detail as well about the role of ALTs, and Nathaniel Reed also runs. Coming up, we have the previously mentioned Introduction to Teaching, and we'll also be running a How to Create Your First Self-Introduction lesson as well, which will be kind of your life for the first month or so. Hopefully we can run a Meet Fellow Incoming Jets game night so we can get to know fellow Jets on our Incoming Jets Discord server, so please be sure to join that. Information on how to join is on our Instagram, and if one of the team can pop the link in the chat, that would be fantastic. As Kay mentioned at the beginning, all of us on the call today are ALTs, but what about support for CIRs? So I'm currently in the works of organizing a CIR online event in collaboration with CIRs in different areas of Japan, and it'll probably be a kind of like a panel discussion on their experiences on the JET program and their advice when starting out. The opinion exchange is coming up at the end of this year, so you'll be receiving an email at the end of the year, so keep your eyes open. As mentioned before, if you want to start your own chapter, if one doesn't exist, we offer grants to establish and grow prefectural chapters. Thank you again for attending. Please make sure to follow us on our Instagram as well. We always post regularly about upcoming events, opportunities, etc. And thank you again for the other panelists for being on tonight.